Chapter 2176. Although I almost died, bitch Jian won't be able to make a comeback. This is an unexpected gain, Little Bean said. Qin Chu was completely speechless. His daughter was only 3 years old. Was it really okay for her to think so much? Daddy, is there something you find strange? What is it? Qin Chu was curious. Handsome Su has been in the entertainment industry for so many years. He should have seen through a person's nature, but he couldn't see through bitch Jian. Little Bean said slowly. Qin Chu was silent for 3 seconds and looked at his daughter seriously. It's not that Su you can't see through her. He saw through her a long time ago. He also knows what kind of person Jian Tong is. Sometimes he just uses her as a shield or cannon fodder. Let's not talk about using her. They both take what they need. Jian Tong wants fame, money, and status, and Su Yu just wants a woman who can escape from his heart. So, even if he knows that woman is a white lotus, he still indulges her. Plus, before this, Jian Tong didn't do anything out of line. Qin Chu calmly analyzed Su Yu's thoughts. Reality proved that he was right. Su Yu wasn't an idiot. He saw through everything. He just didn't want to embarrass Huamin. So, he and Jian Tong had been acting. At that time, Su Yu was using Jian Tong to create hype. Jian Tong was very obedient and understanding. After all, Su Yu was a man. He felt guilty for doing this. So, even if he didn't like Jian Tong, he still wanted to make it up to her in terms of money, fame, and career. Plus, Jian Tong was one of the most popular actresses in Imperial Star. Su Yu always thought that she knew what she was doing. He had never expected such a thing to happen this time. So it was indeed unfair to blame Su Yu now. He couldn't always look at things from other people's perspective. After all, no one was in Su Yu's position. Daddy, I can see that you're a wise man. You didn't look at handsome Su as a love rival, and you didn't blame him for what happened. Now I know why Mommy likes you so much. Little Bean looked at her father with admiration. Why? Qin Chu felt that the Little Bean was about to start sucking up to him again. Sure enough, Little Bean gave him a thumbs up. Daddy, you're a broad-minded person who can achieve great things. You have a clear, calm, and long-term vision. In other words, if handsome Su were to look at Daddy, he wouldn't be so impartial. Daddy, I suddenly feel that being your daughter is the happiest thing that has ever happened to me and my sister. So, the two of you must have saved the Milky Way in your previous life. Qin Chu smiled. Daddy, who saved the Milky Way? Little Bean woke up in a daze. She was finally woken up by her daddy and little sister's conversation. Daddy saved the Milky Way. That's why I met you two and your mommy in my previous life. Qin Chu changed his words. Daddy, you're so smart. You changed your words as soon as you saw my sister wake up. Little Bean laughed. Little Bean got up and turned to look at her sister's foredrip. Daddy, Little Bean's medicine is almost out. Do you want to get me another one? I'll keep an eye on it. It'll be fine. Qin Chu's heart was filled with warmth when he saw the sisters loving each other when they weren't quarreling. Su Yu also didn't sleep that night. He forced himself to go to the company, but he wasn't in the mood to do anything. After handing the foredrip to Tuan, he drove to Wei Liao's company. Is President Wei in his office? Su Yu asked listlessly at the front desk of the Wei family group. Chapter 2177. President Wei is here. President Su, please go upstairs. The receptionist didn't dare to be slow. The truth was, they should be drinking with Tang Chuan and getting drunk. However, Tang Chuan was extremely unreliable. In order to pursue Qin Ning, he went to the States alone. It was said that after he arrived, he started to freeload at Qin Ning's house. He even followed Qin Ning to and from work and worked as an errand boy at GK Corporation. What was even more surprising was that Qin Ning's father, Qin Chu's second uncle, didn't kick him out. Qin Chu's uncle even treated him warmly. This was one of the few stories in the world. Wei Liao was also quite busy at the company. However, he had one good thing about him. No matter how busy he was, he wouldn't leave work. After work, he wouldn't attend any events. Instead, he would go home and spend time with his wife and children. Wei Yunchu's personality was similar to Wei Liao's. He didn't talk much, but he was very smart. He wasn't as logical as his mother, Jiang Xiaowei, but he was still young and needed to be trained. You don't look well. In Wei Liao's office, the two of them were drinking whiskey. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu's haggard face and couldn't help but ask. Yeah, I haven't slept for a day and a night. Then why aren't you sleeping? Why did you come out to drink? I don't feel well. I feel like something's pressing down on my heart. Su Yu held a glass of whiskey in one hand and pointed at his heart with the other. Are you feeling guilty towards Huamin because of what happened to Little Bean? Or are you afraid that this will cause a rift between you and Huamin or the twins? Wei Liao immediately saw the crux of the problem. Su Yu didn't say anything. Instead, he downed the whiskey in his glass and sighed. Both. You know that I wasn't afraid of anything before, but now that I'm older, I'm more afraid. Does Huamin blame you? Wei Liao asked tentatively. Su Yu smiled bitterly. If only you were willing to blame me. Don't you know her? She's always like that. She won't say anything and she's always shouldering everything on her own. She doesn't blame me, but I can see that she's suffering. I hate myself. Why am I such a coward? I can't even take care of the kids. It's the first time Pudding and Little Bean stayed over at my house, and something like this happened. I really don't have the face to face them. In fact, Su Yu really wanted to see Little Bean and talk to her, but in his heart, he kept avoiding her because he was scared. It was as if too much guilt had captivated his heart, causing him to not dare to face it. He was afraid of losing them. He was afraid that the twins would not be so close to him in the future. He was afraid that Huamin would distance himself from him because of this. After all, he had too little. Whether it was the twins or Huamin, he did not have a suitable identity. To put it nicely, you're Uncle Su. To put it bluntly, you're nothing. Therefore, Su Yu was under a lot of psychological pressure, causing him to feel extremely negative emotions. Lord Su, to be honest, you're not like yourself anymore. Wei Liao sighed as he held onto his wine glass. Actually, ever since I met Huamin 4 years ago, I've become less and less like myself. Wei Liao remained silent. Su Yu was a person who placed too much importance on love. Therefore, he was willing to go through fire and water for Huamin. In the past 4 years, he had done so much for her, but in the end, he still stayed with her without any complaints or regrets. Even now, he was still protecting Huamin's daughters. Not many men in the world could do this kind of love, right? But you're going to get married and have kids. If you insist on doing this, is it really okay? Wei Liao rarely tried to persuade Su Yu to give up on Huamin. After all, he was not as straightforward and hot-tempered as Tang Chuan. Therefore, Wei Liao spoke very tactfully. He wanted Su Yu to see the truth. The truth was, no matter what he did or how hard he tried, Huamin would never be with him. Chapter 2178. Before Su Yu could answer, his phone rang. He picked up the phone. President Su, Miss Jian is awake. The staff at the hospital reported. Got it. I'll go over now. Then, Su Yu put the empty glass on the table and got up to pick up his jacket. I'm going to the hospital. Jian Tong is awake. Wei Liao asked. Su Yu nodded. What do you plan to do with her? Wei Liao was curious about Su Yu's style of doing things this time. Same as before, Su Yu said vaguely. Then, he turned around and left the Wei Corporation. The black Lamborghini was parked at the side door of Southside Recuperation Center. Su Yu walked in quietly. Since Jian Tong was a public figure, her hospitalization after the car accident was kept a secret. Su Yu blocked all news and didn't allow anyone to mention that it was Qin Chu who hit Jian Tong. Although Jian Tong's family was unhappy, they didn't dare to offend Su Yu, so they kept their mouths shut. Inside the VIP ward of Southside Recuperation Center, when Jian Tong's agent saw Su Yu, she immediately ran up to greet him. President Su, it's great that you're here. Tong is awake, but she's emotionally unstable. After she found out what happened to her face, she couldn't take it anymore. Please go and talk to her. Su Yu's face was cold and he didn't say anything. He walked past the agent and opened the door. Tong, calm down. President Su is here. You guys talk first. When Jian Tong's mother saw Su Yu walk in, she thought that her savior had arrived. She knew that her daughter liked Su Yu, so she thought that Su Yu might listen to her. So, she turned around and left to give Su Yu and Jian Tong some privacy. Jian Tong was screaming and crying a second ago, but when she saw Su Yu, she immediately quieted down. President Su. Jian Tong opened her mouth but didn't dare to continue, because she realized that the way Su Yu looked at her was very terrifying, that kind of silent terror. I'm not surprised that you put an aphrodisiac in the soup. After all, female artists will do anything to get into your bed. But, you watched Little Bean drink it with your own eyes. Are you trying to get yourself killed? Su Yu's voice was cold and there was no warmth in his gaze. President Su. I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know what came over me. Maybe I was possessed. You know that I don't like Huamin or the twins. They're always trying to frame me and say bad things about me so that I can't be alone with you. So you're willing to hurt a 3-year-old child? Su Yu walked over and stared into Jian Tong's eyes. Her entire body was wrapped in gauze. Only her eyes and mouth were exposed. It was obvious that she was seriously injured. It was said that the glass shards pierced through her face and it was a level 1 disfigurement. For a woman like Jian Tong who loved to look beautiful, it was a disaster. However, it wasn't over yet. President Su, I really like you too much. I'm not young anymore and I want to be with you. When I saw that you liked Huamin, I wanted to help you guys be together. But after Qinchu came back, Huamin immediately dumped you and went back to Qinchu. That woman is so despicable, how could she have your heart? I hate her so much that I lost my mind. I really didn't mean to frame Little Bean. It's just an aphrodisiac, it's not life-threatening, right? If your life was in danger, would you still have a chance to wake up? Su Yu glared at her and asked coldly. President Su, I'm already in a terrible state, please let me go. I really know that I was wrong. Plus, Qin Chu hit me with his car and ruined my career. He also avenged his daughter. Please let me go. Jian Tong was calm and sober at this moment because she knew that she was done for when she saw the look in Su Yu's eyes. Therefore, she didn't dare to throw a tantrum and could only beg for mercy. I won't let you go, but you have to do one thing and I'll let your family go. Su Yu looked at her mercilessly. What do you have to do? Jian Tong was terrified. Chapter 2179. In fact, when Jian Tong asked the question, she had a bad feeling about it. Therefore, when she asked the question, she felt a chill run down her spine. When Su Yu looked at her, there was no warmth in his eyes. Not only was it cold, but it was also filled with hatred. Kill yourself and this will be over. Su Yu's voice was extremely cold. After hearing what he said, Jian Tong's heart sank to the bottom. President Su, do you want me to die? Jian Tong's voice was trembling and she even sounded like she was about to cry. She never thought that Su Yu would say something like this. However, after being by Su Yu's side for so many years, she knew that he was a man of his word. He would never scare or threaten her. If he said it, then it must be true. That was why it was so scary. Do you think you don't deserve to die for what you did? Su Yu asked coldly. But I said I'm sorry. I really didn't do it on purpose. It's useless for you to say sorry to me or Little Bean. I think it's better for you to say sorry to God. President Su, how can you do this to me? All these years I, Jian Tong, ask myself, how much have I done for Imperial Star? Jian Tong had been in the limelight for the past few years. After Mo Shui lost her power, she became Imperial Star's #1 star and had a high status in the entertainment industry. She had made a lot of money for Imperial Star. You need to know what's important first. Imperial Star created you first and you made money for Imperial Star. You didn't make Imperial Star what it is. We don't lack female artists. Without you, there would be others who would be famous. However, you don't have Imperial Star, Su Yu, and Jian Tong. Who do you think you are? When Su Yu was ruthless, he was very scary. Now, Jian Tong was scared and regretful. She finally knew how to play the tender card with him. What the hell was she doing in the first place? President Su, you can't just kill me. You should give me a chance. I won't do it again. I really won't hurt the twins or Huamian again. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Jian Tong finally realized that she was nothing in Su Yu's heart. If even a single hair on Huo Mian's head was harmed, she would be sentenced to death. It wasn't an equal treaty to begin with. After realizing her identity and position, all Jian Tong could do was to beg bitterly. All these years, I've been indulging you the most because I thought you knew your place. I didn't expect you to be so stupid. If it was any other mistake, I might have forgiven you. But you almost killed Little Bean, so you must die. Su Yu said firmly. Then, what if I don't? Are you going to kill me? Are you going to ask your subordinates to kill me? Su Yu cried. She became emotional. Ignoring the gauze on her face, she looked into Su Yu's eyes. No, I won't do anything because Qin Chu won't let you go. Su Yu turned around and walked away. President Su, save me. Jian Tong screamed unwillingly. It's too late, Su Yu said before walking out of the hospital. President Su, how's my daughter? Is she feeling better? Jian Tong's mother walked up to Su Yu and asked. Su Yu didn't answer and walked past her. President Su, do you have any plans for Miss Jian? What's the company's decision? What about the endorsements and jobs? What about this year's TV series? Are you going to find someone new to replace her? Jian Tong's agent hurriedly followed behind Su Yu, trying to please him. Chapter 2180. We'll have results soon. Just you wait, Su Yu said as he walked out of the hospital. After Su Yu left, Jian Tong went completely crazy. She pulled out the syringe and screamed in pain. She refused to cooperate with the doctors and bit everyone she saw. However, Su Yu never came to see her again. It had been a day since Little Bean's accident. Su Yu didn't sleep well at home or at the company. He was in a daze. Inside his office. It was almost time to get off work. Many friends called to ask Su Yu out for dinner, but he turned them all down. President Su, it's time to get off work. Madam just called you and asked you to come home for dinner. Okay, I got it. Su Yu stood up. Just then his phone rang. It was a video call from Little Bean. Su Yu was a little excited because it was Little Bean. This was the first time Little Bean video called Su Yu since she was discharged from the hospital. Su Yu immediately picked up. Little Bean. His voice was warm. Hello, handsome Su, what are you doing? Little Bean put the phone on the table and leaned against the wall. She stood in front of the phone and waved her chubby little hands. She was wearing an emerald green cheongsam dress and her hair was curled. She looked as cute as a little princess. I'm at the company. I just got off work. Do you have plans? Yeah, I'm going back to the old house for dinner. Oh, so you're going back to Lord Su and Grandma Su's place. How boring. It's so boring to eat with the old people. Why don't you come to my place? Little Bean invited him with a smile. Before Su Yu could say anything, Pudding walked out from behind Little Bean. She was wearing the same outfit as Su Yu. Handsome Su, come here. I bet you drove less than 20 minutes. Your Lamborghini is so cool. Pudding interrupted. Sis, is this okay? I'm talking to handsome Su alone. Why are you doing this? Little Bean looked at Pudding unhappily. If I didn't help you, would handsome Su give you face? What a joke. Pudding said proudly. Why wouldn't you give me face? I'm a patient who just recovered from a serious illness. Handsome Su, you'll come and see me, right? Little Bean pouted. Su Yu's heart softened. That won't happen. Great. Can you please buy me a bowl of coconut milk sago when you pass by Lee's dessert shop on your way here? Little Bean continued to ask for more. All right. And butter pineapple buns. Little Bean added. All right. Su Yu smiled. All right, I also want a black forest cake. Thanks. Anything else? Su Yu continued to ask. That's it. It's just sauce. Is your mommy home? Su Yu thought for a moment and asked nervously. To be honest, ever since the incident, Su Yu felt embarrassed to face Huamin. Daddy's home too. They're busy cooking. Daddy and Mommy are cooking. Mommy even made your favorite boiled fish. Are you looking forward to it? Little Bean asked with a smile. As soon as she finished speaking, Huamin walked over with a floral apron. He looked into the camera and smiled at Su Yu. Come early or there won't be anything to eat. Got it. I'll be there in a bit. Su Yu couldn't refuse the family's sincere invitation. Plus, it was time for him to go see Little Bean. Whether Huamin and Qin Chu blamed him or not, he had to give them an explanation. After all, this incident happened at his house because of him. Plus, Su Yu planned to talk to Qin Chu alone about how to deal with Jian Tong. This was a serious issue because it involved a life. After work, Su Yu called home to explain. Then, he drove his black Lamborghini to South Hill Manor. Pudding guessed right. Su Yu drove over in 20 minutes. As soon as he walked in, the twins jumped on him. Wow, handsome Su, we missed you so much. Little Bean began to hug his leg coquettishly as usual. Pudding carefully took over the desserts. Sure enough, he bought a lot of desserts. Su Yu picked up Little Bean, who had just recovered from a serious illness. Just as he was about to say something, he saw Qin Chu, who was wearing a black casual shirt, walking over. Chapter 2181. Su Yu felt a little awkward. He felt guilty towards Huamin, but towards Qin Chu, he felt even more complicated. That day, Qin Chu punched Su Yu in the hospital. Although no one mentioned it after that, the already unnatural relationship between the two became even more complicated. Su Yu thought that Qin Chu would still be cold and not say anything, or even be unfriendly. However, to his surprise, Qin Chu nodded at Su Yu, showing basic respect. Seeing this, Su Yu immediately nodded back. It was a unique way for two men to greet each other. Handsome Su, what took you so long to come see me? You're so heartless. Little Bean, who was in Su Yu's arms, purposely reached out her hand to pinch Su Yu's face. I wanted to see you for a long time, but I was afraid that your mommy would kick me out. Su Yu joked. No, she won't. My mommy isn't that kind of person. Little Bean immediately defended her mommy. Just then, Huamin walked out of the kitchen. He was wearing a little apron and looked very cute. What kind of person is your mommy? Huamin asked with a smile. Mommy, handsome Su is here. Little Bean was very proud, showing off in Su Yu's arms. You're just in time. Go wash your hands. Dinner will be ready in 5 minutes. Huamin urged Su Yu with a smile. The family didn't blame Su Yu for what happened to Little Bean, nor did Su Yu feel estranged. The twins were still very warm towards Su Yu, as were Huamin and Qin Chu. Perhaps because they wanted to invite Su Yu over for dinner, Yixin took his mother to their old neighbor's house in the ghetto. Only Qin Chu, Huamin, and the kids were at home. The housekeeper and maid left the big dining room. Looking at the sumptuous Chinese food on the table, Su Yu was a bit surprised. Did you make all of this yourself? I made 6, and Mr. Qin made 4. Huamin was a bit proud. Qin Chu knows how to cook Chinese food? Su Yu didn't expect this. I learned it later. It should be okay, Qin Chu answered calmly. Handsome Su, you'll know once you try it. Hurry and eat. Little Bean and Pudding sat on Su Yu's side. Little Bean was very happy to see Su Yu, and she kept putting food on his plate from the beginning. Su Yu didn't treat her as an outsider and started eating in silence. At the dinner table, everyone chatted. When they were almost done, Huamin looked at Pudding. Pudding, take your sister upstairs to change. We have something to talk to your Uncle Su about. Mommy. Pudding was also very obedient. She listened to her mother and took her sister upstairs. Before they went upstairs, Little Bean looked back and reminded Huamin, Mommy, you and Daddy can't bully handsome Su, or I'll get mad. Don't worry, we wouldn't dare to bully him. Miss Little Bean, you're overthinking it. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. After the twins went upstairs, only Qin Chu, Huamin, and Su Yu were left at the table. To be honest, this situation was a bit strange. Su Yu, the reason we invited you to dinner today is actually, the food is not the main reason. The main reason we wanted to talk to you. Huamin spoke very slowly. It seemed like she had a lot on her mind. I know, you want to talk about Little Bean. I'm mentally prepared, Su Yu said. Huamin nodded. She turned her head and looked at Qin Chu. Honey, you go first. Chapter 2182. Qin Chu put down her chopsticks and glanced at Su Yu. I was a little impulsive when I heard about Little Bean's accident. I'm sorry. Don't say that. It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her. Even if you punch me a few more times, I won't fight back, Suyu said sincerely. We didn't expect Little Bean's accident to happen, and neither did you. We didn't know that they would run into Jian Tong on their way there, and we didn't know that Jian Tong would try to drug you, but Little Bean ended up taking the drug. None of these things were supposed to happen, so we can't blame you for it. The only culprit is Jian Tong, so we don't want you to feel guilty all the time. After all, Little Bean is fine now, and everything is in the past. Plus, we won't change our opinion of you because of this. We all know how you've treated me and Little Bean over the years, and we won't erase everything that you've done for us because of a small mistake. So, Suyu, don't feel pressured and don't be unhappy. Huamin was indeed a logical woman. Every word she said resonated with Suyu's heart. Before he came here, Suyu was worried that Huamin would tactfully tell him not to be so close to the twins in the future. But now, it seemed that he didn't need to worry at all. Huamin was just a smart woman. She guessed Suyu's thoughts and uneasiness, so her words warmed Suyu's heart. After Huamin finished speaking, Qin Chu nodded and concluded, "Yes, everything is in the past. Nothing will change. It's still the same as before." Suyu knew that everything that Qin Chu said was the same as before. It was nothing more than his relationship with Qin Chu and Huamian's family. Suyu's relationship with the twins was even closer than family. Suyu was touched by Qin Chu and Huamian's words. So much so that the corners of his eyes were a little moist. He had a lot of things to say in his heart, but in the end he only said 4 words: long live understanding. Yes, they understood each other. He could understand Qin Chu and Huamian's panic and worry as parents when they saw their children in trouble. Qin Chu and Huamian could understand why Suyu didn't know how to deal with this sudden situation, and how he had unintentionally indulged Jian Tong. After the problem appeared, everyone was anxious to discuss who should be held responsible. But how could he remedy this situation? Minimizing the negative consequences of the matter. Now that Little Bean had recovered and everything was over, there was only one problem left. How should he deal with Jian Tong? In the hospital, Suyu and Jian Tong had already made their stand clear, but Qin Chu and Huamian still didn't know about it. "What do you think about Jian Tong?" Huamin asked. Suyu thought for a moment and replied, "I've seen her and told her to end her own life, and this matter will be over. Her family won't be involved." "End her own life? You want her to?" Huamin thought that Suyu would at most blacklist Jian Tong and force her to leave the entertainment industry. Then he would order her to leave this place and never come back, or exile her abroad. However, he didn't expect that Suyu would want Jian Tong to die. The consequences were quite serious. If you do something wrong, you should take responsibility. You can't run away from it just because you didn't do it on purpose. I've always treated them like my own children. How can I let it go when my own children were framed and almost died? If I let things go like this, then I, Suyu, wouldn't be Suyu. My life is worse than a woman's. After Suyu said this, Qin Chu and Huamin looked at each other in tacit understanding. Chapter 2183. The truth was, Huamin didn't think about how to deal with Jian Tong because she knew Mr. Qin knew what to do. At this moment, Qin Chu slowly said, "I could have killed her, but since I spared her life, I'll let her live. Death is actually very easy, it'll happen in an instant. However, living is the pain. That woman is now heavily injured and unrecognizable. It won't be easy for her to live. I don't think we should let her die. Let her live. She can use the rest of her life to atone for her sins." Everyone's logical thinking was different. Suyu felt that she deserved to die because she did something wrong. Mr. Qin hated her even more. If he wanted revenge, he would torture her first. No matter how he looked at it, he was right. "Anyway, I'll leave Jian Tong to you. Do whatever you want with her. I won't care if she lives or dies. I'll even block all information about her. You can do whatever you want, but don't let her go easily. After all, a vicious woman like her will only bring more trouble if she lives," Suyu added. Huamin nodded. "I'll listen to Mr. Qin no matter what he does." Huamin felt that she was too soft-hearted. No matter how smart she was still a woman. Women all had a kind side and weren't decisive enough. Therefore, at times like this, she needed a strong man to solve the problem. Anyway, as long as she didn't have the heart of a saint, it shouldn't be a problem. After they finished talking about this topic, the twins came downstairs. They had changed into light pink pajamas. They were still wearing small dresses and looked cute. Little Bean was eating dessert while Pudding was video chatting with someone on her cell phone. "Mommy, is that my auntie?" Pudding pointed at the cell phone. Huamin smiled. "We're not curious about how your auntie is doing. We want to know how young Master Tang is doing." Pudding immediately turned the cell phone around to face everyone. On the other end of the video, Qin Ning was wearing jeans and a loose white t-shirt. She was always dressed in the simplest and most sunny outfit, but it made people feel comfortable. "Sis-in-law, I've been so busy lately. My dad is really cruel. Let me tell you, he took my uncle and auntie to Switzerland for a vacation. I'm the only one working at the company right now. I'm crazy busy." Qin Ning began to complain when she saw Huamin. At this time, Mr. Qin faintly interrupted, "You're not alone. Don't you have a guest from afar? Brother, is it really okay for you to do this to me?" Qin Ning was embarrassed. "Auntie, don't be shy. Quick, show us Uncle Tang." Pudding gossiped. "Don't tell me you're keeping a mistress in your house?" Little Bean added. "Qin Ning, your family sure loves to gossip. I'm going to ignore you guys." Qin Ning was furious. Without any explanation, he hung up. "Auntie, are you shy?" Little Bean asked cutely. "Do you even need to ask?" "Of course she is. But Uncle Tang is really persistent. He followed Auntie all the way to the States and followed her around like a shadow. Sometimes, it's a good idea to pester her," Pudding calmly analyzed. "Handsome Sue, do you like Uncle Tang and my auntie?" Little Bean turned her head and looked at Su Yu. "Not bad. At least I think they'll be interesting together." Su Yu smiled. "But my auntie used to be a couple with you. Don't you regret it?" Little Bean continued to gossip. "This question is even more boring now. But Miss Little Bean, let's talk about a very serious question, okay?" Su Yu asked as he hugged Little Bean lovingly. "Okay, go ahead. I'm listening." Little Bean nodded obediently. Chapter 2184. Can you not be so greedy in the future? Su Yu said in a serious tone. Little Bean immediately felt guilty. Even handsome Su said something like that? Don't be so greedy in the future and almost lose your life, okay? Hearing Su Yu's words, Pudding chimed in. I know. This time, I really realized how serious the problem is. I'll change. Little Bean said perfunctorily. But you didn't. You made me buy so many desserts today. Su Yu immediately exposed Little Bean's lie. Little Bean immediately covered her face with her hands. See? You're too embarrassed to face anyone. Pudding accused. I need time to change, okay? Give me time to adapt. Finally, Su Yu gave Little Bean a stern warning. When it was about time, he got up and said goodbye. Are you full? Huamin was worried that Su Yu felt uncomfortable and didn't have enough to eat, so he asked. I'm full. You're really good at cooking. Su Yu didn't expect Huamin to be so good at cooking. He really ate a lot. I just found recipes online and copied them. I'm not good at cooking. Compared to Auntie Sue, I'm not even close. If it weren't for Little Bean, I would have taken them back to the old manor a long time ago. Grandpa is back and wants to see them. Okay, I'll take them over one of these days. I miss Lord Su too. Huamin and Su Yu exchanged pleasantries. The twins were reluctant to part with Su Yu. Then, Su Yu left South Hill Manor. Jixin came back with his mother at the same time. Mother took the kids upstairs to get changed and take a shower. Jixin was busy texting Bella on WeChat. Huamin leaned against Qin-Chu's shoulder and warmed himself in front of the fireplace on the first floor. Eating fruits, it seemed that she hadn't been this relaxed and carefree for a few days. This matter is finally over. I hope that Su Yu can let go of the pressure in his heart and not think too much about it, Huamin said softly. That won't happen. He's a smart person. He should know why we're treating him to a meal. We're trying our best to maintain this relationship, to eliminate his grudge. Qin Chu comforted. What about Jian Tong? After she is discharged from the hospital, she will be banned by Imperial Star. She will probably go abroad. Huamin thought that the woman was actually quite pitiful. He didn't expect her to be so smart, but when she wanted to court death, he couldn't stop her. Go abroad? Where should he go? Do you think I'll let her go? Mr. Qin's eyes flashed coldly when he thought of that evil woman. Didn't you say to let her live in pain? Huamin was a little doubtful. He tilted his head and looked at Qin Chu. I said to let her live in pain, but I didn't say I'll let her go. Qin Chu seemed to have other plans in mind. Huamin was smart enough not to notice. Seeing that Huamin was silent, Qin Chu reached out his hand and lifted her chin. Not everyone in this world is worthy of forgiveness, I know. Huamin nodded slightly. I know that you have a kind side to you. We're not evil people. If people don't mess with us, we won't mess with them. That's the basic principle. But if people bully us, we can't just sit back and do nothing. Pudding and Little Bean are our babies. They're the fruits of our love, the most precious gift of our lives. That woman almost killed Little Bean. If we continue to be merciful, who knows what kind of disaster we'll bring to ourselves in the future. Qin Chu held Huamin's shoulders tightly and analyzed the pros and cons of their actions. Chapter 2185. Honey, you're right. I'm too soft-hearted and not decisive enough. Jian Tong deserves to die. If Little Bean died, even if I killed her 100 times, I wouldn't be able to get rid of the hatred in my heart. I know that, so I won't ask you to let her go. Since Suyu agrees, then I'll leave it to you. I'll support you no matter what you do. For the first time in his life, Huamin hardened his heart and showed no mercy to a woman. Because she was a mother who loved her daughter dearly, Little Bean's incident finally came to an end, and Huamin and Qin Chu returned to their busy work. It was almost the end of the year, and everyone was very busy. Qin Chu had endless meetings at GK, and Huamin had endless surgeries and patients at Southside. The couple returned to their normal lives, and Jian Tong was hospitalized at Southside for almost half a month. Not only did her condition not improve, but it also got worse. This was because Huamin often heard the nurses talk about it. They said that the woman in the VIP room who was in a car accident was mentally unstable and needed sedatives to fall asleep at night. Suyu never came to Southside again, and he didn't ask about Jian Tong at all. Huamin was in the same hospital as her, but they never saw each other. Maybe Huamin did it on purpose, so he never went to the VIP room, whether it was work or work. Therefore, the chances of seeing Jian Tong were very low. There were so many patients at the end of the year that Huamin had 3 times more patients than usual. Sometimes, he was so busy that he didn't even have lunch. Today was the same. When Huamin finished seeing the last patient in the morning, it was already 12:40 p.m. It was almost 1 p.m., and he was indeed hungry. After Xianxia and Ni Yang finished their trip to Bali, they went straight to Tahiti. As the vice director, Huamin gave Xianxia a long vacation. Therefore, her temporary assistant position was filled by a new nurse from the hospital. "Chief, it's time for you to eat." The nurse knocked on the door to remind him. "How many people are there in the afternoon?" Huamin took off his spectacles, put away his pen, and hung it in the pocket of his lab coat. "There are 7 more patients in the afternoon. I don't know if we can finish them in time." The nurse was a little worried. "It should be about the same. If I can't finish it, I'll work overtime. That's not a big deal." "Chief, you're working too hard. It's the end of the year, you have to take care of your health." Huamin was a well-known workaholic in Southside. As long as he was busy, he didn't care about anything else. He often came early and left late, and President Wu had praised him more than once in a meeting. Now, his position as the vice president was even more convincing. "I'm fine, I'm healthy. My body is great, I eat delicious food, and it's not hard for me to go up to the 5th floor in one breath," Huamin said as he talked about the advertisement on the internet, making the assistant nurse laugh. At this time, the office door was pushed open and a tall and handsome man walked in. She was wearing an exaggerated orange woolen coat, but she looked so natural. Little sister Mion, I haven't seen you smile like this in a long time. Did something good happen today? After Huasiqian walked in, he sat across from Huamin in the patient's seat, very close to Huamin. What are you doing here? Huamin saw Huasiqian walk in and immediately stopped smiling. Her expression also became nervous. To her, this was an uninvited guest. Chief, you have a guest, so I won't disturb you. But leave first. Don't forget to eat. The nurse reminded. Huamin nodded, and the nurse closed the door and left. Suddenly, only Huasiqian and Huamin were left in the brightly lit consultation room. Huamin was still wearing a white coat, and her long hair was past her shoulders, falling naturally. Compared to 4 years ago, there was an additional air of maturity between her eyebrows. After all, she was already a wife and a mother. In terms of style, Huamin was more mature and rarely wore Disney clothing with cartoon patterns. Huasiqian, on the other hand, had never changed. He liked to dress in a flashy style and liked to dress in bright colors. The two of them, one white, one orange. It was a pretty good combination. Chapter 2186. I haven't seen you in a long time. I missed you, so I came to see you. Huasiqian was as straightforward as ever. He didn't beat around the bush. However, Huamin didn't feel awkward or embarrassed when he heard Huasiqian's words. Instead, he felt his heart grow heavier. We're not siblings and we're definitely not friends. You don't have to come to see me because I don't really welcome you. Huamin didn't hold back at all. You don't really welcome me, but you do welcome me a little bit. Huasiqian seized on Huamin's tone and tried to find fault with it. Huamin didn't want to argue with Huasiqian. Instead, he changed the topic and asked, You've been very low-key lately? I don't think you've done anything to Mo Shui. But what do you want me to do? Huasiqian smiled faintly. No, I'm not interested in your business at all, Huamin immediately denied. But I've always been interested in your business. I heard about what happened to Jian Tong. How's Little Bean? Huasiqian was surprisingly concerned about Little Bean. How did you know? Huamin looked at Huasiqian cautiously and stared into his eyes. Nothing can hide from me here, unless I don't want to know. There's nothing I don't know. Huasiqian's lips twitched. Huh, do you also think that I'm a failure as a person? Huamin suddenly changed the topic. Why would I? Huasiqian looked at Huamin's face seriously. It seemed that whenever he saw Huamin, his chaotic heart would calm down. This was one of the reasons why he liked to be alone with Huamin. I've always thought of myself as someone who doesn't want to compete with others. I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't want to fight for anything. But even so, Jian Tong hates me, Mo Shui, hates me, Song Yisher hates me. They all hate me. The sad thing is that I don't even know why they hate me so much. Huamin bitterly smiled. That's because they're jealous of everything you have. Everything you have, they might never be able to have in their lifetime. Huasiqian replied. But I don't think I have a lot. People only see the happiness I have now, but they don't know how much I've suffered. After all these years, I feel like I've been through the life of a normal person. Maybe other people's lives don't have as many ups and downs as mine. I can still face everything with a calm heart. I really think I've had enough. I also thought that our family would live a happy life. Who knew? Those people with ulterior motives would extend their claws to my child. Huasiqian, you too, right? When I was pregnant, you actually wanted me to have an abortion many times, didn't you? After Huamin finished speaking, she looked up at Huasiqian with a heavy heart. Maybe it was because of the bomb incident last time and seeing through life and death, Huamin actually felt that there were some things that she could tell Huasiqian openly. There was no need to beat around the bush. Yes, at that time. I just didn't want you to give birth to another man's child. I always wanted you to belong to me completely. It's that simple, Huasiqian happily admitted. What about now? Will you still hurt my daughters? Do you still want to take them away from me? Huamin asked in all seriousness. She tried to get the answer she wanted from his face. If I told you the answer, would you believe me? Huasiqian asked back. Chapter 2187. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Huamin gave an answer that wasn't really an answer. She didn't know if she would believe Hua Xiqian's words. After all, their current situation was worrying. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin and chuckled. Then he slowly said, I won't. When you were pregnant, I thought it was too sudden and couldn't accept that it was someone else's child. But now, I know that they are your life. If anything happens to them, you might not be able to live. So, I won't do anything to hurt them. You don't have to be on guard against me, especially Little Bean. She's really cute. Although she's a little dumb, she's a lot like you when you were young. She's smart and a little stubborn. I really like your child. But, even so, you won't like me, right? Hua Xiqian changed the topic from the children to the two of them, making things awkward. Huamin didn't answer because she knew that Hua Xiqian already knew the answer. Mian, I've been thinking about something lately. If you weren't Huamin and I weren't Hua Xiqian, if we were just a couple of ordinary people, if I didn't have money, a good job, or an identity, if I only had a heart that loved you, would you still give me a chance? Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin with a warm smile on his face. There are no ifs in life. Maybe it was because he was getting older, but Huamin didn't like hypothetical questions anymore. She felt that there was no point in asking this question because no matter what she thought, it wouldn't happen. But you're such a heartless girl. You won't even let me think about it, Mr. Hua. I haven't eaten yet. If there's nothing else, Huamin wanted to ask him to leave. However, before he could finish, he saw Hua Xiqian pick up a brocade box from the floor and put it on Huamin's desk. It's your favorite soup dumplings and hot and sour noodles from the old street in the west side of the city. They still taste so authentic. Do you still like them? Hua Xiqian carried the brocade box, which was still steaming hot. It seemed like he bought it before he came to the hospital. Huamin often went to the old street in the west side of the city when he was young. Because the things there were cheap, the prices of many street stalls could be lowered, and there were also many delicious foods. Back then, she had to take the bus twice, the bus ride from where she lived to the old street. And Tissus, mean Diju Lingling liked mutton-steamed buns and Chuanbei cold jelly, while Huamin liked soup dumplings and hot and sour noodles. Hua Xiqian already had some status in the Hua family at the time, so he often drove around the city in a luxury car. He accidentally found out that Huamin liked to go there, so he followed him a few times and even tried Huamin's favorite snacks. Hua Xiqian didn't know if it was because he loved Huamin, but he also liked the snacks. After so many years, it was rare that he still remembered Huamin's favorite snacks. Huamin looked at the snacks with a complicated expression and didn't say anything. What's wrong? Are you afraid I'll poison it? Don't worry, I'm not as stupid as Jian Tong. I won't do something so stupid. Hua Xiqian laughed heartily. Huamin looked at the hot and sour noodles and soup dumplings with mixed emotions. He didn't know what to feel. Perhaps it was because of the memories of his youth. At the time, Hua Xiqian hadn't been so evil. Occasionally, when they met, they would mock and tease each other. It became a joy in his youth. Chapter 2188. It's okay. If you can't swallow it because I bought it, you can just throw it in the trash can? Hua Xiqian said sadly. She realized that Huamin had no intention of accepting any of the things he gave her, whether it was facial masks or food. Seeing that Huamin still didn't say anything, Hua Xiqian stood up and put on his deerskin gloves. Okay, I won't disturb you anymore. Oh, wait, I'm the vice director now. I know you're busy, so I won't disturb you. But you have to take care of your body. Otherwise, when you die of exhaustion, Qin Chu will marry a mistress. Then she'll spend your money, live in your house, sleep with your husband, and beat your baby. Hua Xiqian teased on purpose. A smile finally appeared on Huamian's serious face. That won't happen, my baby. I don't even know what to do. She replied. I'm glad you're smiling. Good girl, next time you see me, don't look like you're going to the grave. I thought I was going to die soon. I'll leave the food here. Eat it if you want. I'm leaving. Hua Xiqian turned around to leave. Suddenly, he thought of something and turned around. Mian, What do you plan to do with Jian Tong? My husband will take care of it. Huamin didn't understand why Huasiqian would suddenly ask her this. She thought it was strange. Okay, no matter who takes care of it, I suggest you get rid of the source of the problem. Jian Tong isn't a woman who'll change her ways easily. Now that she's injured like this, even if she survives, she'll carry a grudge with her. For you guys, she's a hidden danger. It's better to get rid of her as soon as possible. You have to be careful. The same goes for Mo Shui. Don't ever see her alone again. Huasiqian said before opening the door and leaving. Huamin sat there in a daze for a few more minutes. Then she slowly opened the snacks that Huasiqian brought her. She picked up a xiaolongbao and took a few bites. Suddenly, she realized that she didn't like it as much as she used to. It wasn't that the taste had changed. It was just that things had changed. She was no longer the Huamin she used to be. Huamin, who was originally hungry, lost her appetite because of Huasiqian's arrival. She ate a few bites, cleaned up the food, and then went back to work. That was when Ni Yang's call came. It was a video call. Hi. How are you? Ni Yang smiled brightly. Sure, is Tahiti beautiful? Huamian perked up. Huamian's knees, s's takes, s yours, tites, retesri, it, y, s's, shwedis? She's swimming over there. Ni Yang pointed at the beach. Inchum, as long as you guys are having fun. When are you coming back? In a week. It's almost Chinese New Year, so we're planning to go back early. Sis, there's actually something I want you to do. What is it? When I get back, I want to hold a wedding. I won't be able to do it before Chinese New Year. I looked at the calendar, and the 8th of the first lunar month is a good day. I want to hold it at one of GK's hotels. I'll leave this to you, okay? You little brat, you're finally holding a wedding? Huamin smiled sweetly. He was truly happy for Ni Yang. Enichim, I'm not young anymore. I don't want to drag it out anymore. I'll get married when I meet the right person. Okay, I support you. If you need me to do anything, just say the word, and I'll make sure it's grand. Sis, I want to go to the Mian Hotel on Yunding Mountain. It's quiet and has a great environment. Most importantly, it's named after you. I think Jia and I will never forget it. Okay, I'll pay for everything as long as you guys are happy. Also, I have a plan to tell you. Ni Yang lowered his voice on purpose and whispered something to Huamin. Upon hearing this, Huamian asked in surprise, This will work? Are you sure Jia won't beat you to death? Chapter 2189. It's okay. I've already made up my mind whether you beat me to death or not. You have to cooperate with me, sis. Ni Yang said coquettishly. After struggling for a while, Huamin was finally convinced by his younger brother. Okay, I'll try my best. But I might not be able to perform well. It's okay. I believe in your acting skills and abilities, sis. After a pleasant conversation with Ni Yang, she threw herself back into her busy work. Imperial Star Headquarters. After having dinner at South Hill Manor, Su Yu felt relieved. Or rather, knowing that Huamin, Qin Chu, and the twins didn't blame him, Su Yu was relieved. President Su, Mrs. Tang is here. She wants to see you, and knocked on the door and came in to report. Mrs. Tang? Su Yu had an ominous feeling. Let her in. Tang Chuan's mother was a classic rich lady. She was over 50 years old and spent all her time drinking tea, beauty treatments, and playing cards. Because she came from a prestigious family, she had always had a high status in the Tang family. Tang Chuan's father also had some affairs when he was young, but later on, those women became passers-by. Mrs. Tang was firmly in the position of Mrs. Tang, so she had a sense of superiority in her bones. She had all the bad habits of a rich lady. She was unruly, arrogant, serious, old-fashioned, and picky. This was very similar to Qin Chu's mother. Among all the rich ladies, only Su Yu's mother was extremely gentle. When Huamin first met Mrs. Su, he liked her very much, so they got along better and better. Auntie, why are you here? And brought Tang Chuan's mother in. Su Yu immediately stood up and walked over to greet her. Ooh, I'm here for something. I won't disturb your work, right? I won't delay you. Please go ahead, Annie. Su Yu knew that Tang Chuan's mother was also a person who wouldn't visit him without a reason. The secretary brewed 2 cups of high-quality pu or tea, but Mrs. Tang Chuan didn't seem to be in the mood to drink it. You and Chuan are childhood friends, and I watched you and the second son of the Wei family grow up. I know you guys are very close and are always together, so if there's anything you have to tell me, Andy, just say it. Huh? You're beating around the bush. I'm also nervous. Su Yu was actually quite afraid of Tang Chuan's mother because she had a weird temper and was very explosive. A while ago, Tang Chuan had a falling out with his family because he was unwilling to get married. Tang Chuan's mother had personally cut off his end credit cards. Unfortunately, this man knew that they might use this trick. A long time ago, he had shares in Su Yu and Wei Liao's companies and had been receiving dividends. Even without the Tang family's money, he didn't have to worry about food and clothing. Most importantly, he also had a private account in a Swiss bank under an English name. It was all the money he had earned by investing on a whim over the years. That amount was also an astronomical figure, so people who didn't know the truth thought that Tang Chuan was relying on his family for food and drink. In fact, he just didn't want to talk about it because it was meaningless. It was true that his family was rich, and it was also true that he could make money. In the end, Tang Chuan won that competition. Mrs. Tang was so angry that she fell seriously ill and took a lot of Chinese medicine. Has Chuan contacted you recently? Su Yu wasn't sure how much Tang Chuan's mother knew. He was afraid that she was here to get information out of him, so he didn't dare to say too much. Chapter 2190. Don't hide it from me. He's almost 30 years old and he's still acting on a whim. That's ridiculous. It was his birthday a while ago, and he's already gone missing. He didn't even tell us, didn't pick up our calls, and didn't reply to our WeChat messages. He hasn't even updated his WeChat moments recently. I even think that he's lost and kidnapped. His dad and I have been worried about him for the past few days. My heart isn't good to begin with, and the more I think about it, the more scared I get. Last night, I even took some quick-acting cardiorespiratory pills. Tell me, this kid really makes us worry. Mrs. Tang's face was full of worry. It seemed that she was indeed here because of Tang Chuan. Su Yu hurriedly explained, Auntie, don't worry, he's definitely not lost. Tang Chuan has been very smart since he was young. Even if everyone in the world got lost, he would still be able to return to Earth safely. Then why didn't he contact us? His dad asked someone to investigate and said that he went to Los Angeles. After that, there's no news. Our family doesn't have much influence in the United States, so it's not easy to investigate. So I might as well ask you. Forget it, you, don't hide it from me. Tell me the truth today, okay? Auntie, don't be so agitated. Listen to me. Tang Chuan is definitely fine. He's very safe. He's really in Los Angeles. The reason he didn't update his WeChat moments is probably because he's been too busy recently. Too busy? What else could he be busy with? Sleeping until the sun shines on his butt every day? Mrs. Tang knew her son too well. Actually, you'll be surprised if I tell you. Tang Chuan, he's working in the United States. What? He's working? Mrs. Tang's face was full of surprise. Yeah, he's working. I send him WeChat messages every day, so I know his status. Working? What work? Is he crazy? Our family is so busy that we're going crazy. Instead of coming back to help, he's going to work in the United States? Mrs. Tang was very angry after hearing this. She felt that her son was being ridiculous and immature. Auntie, he's working for Qi Ning. Qi Ning? The girl at Chuan's birthday party? Mrs. Tang froze. Su Yu nodded slightly. I heard that the girl is the cousin of GK's president, Mr. Qin? Mrs. Tang asked Su Yu tentatively. Her family background is not bad. I didn't take a good look at her face that day. The lights were too bright. Xiao Chuan is really interested in her? Yes. So you're trying to woo a girl? Not only did you chase her all the way to America, you're even working in their company? That's about it. But I really have to hand it to my son. Mrs. Tang finally sighed. Auntie, it's actually quite good that Chuan has a girl he likes. At least he can forget about the past, and he won't continue to be so ridiculous. You know that he's almost 30 years old. It's not a long-term plan for him to spend all day leisurely and indulge in debauchery. Sooner or later, he'll take over the family. Sooner or later, he'll have to marry and have children. So, isn't it just right that he has a girl he likes now? Plus, the girl's family background is extraordinary. Whether it's her looks, education, or family background, they're all top-notch. Not many people in Sea City can compare to her. Su Yu chose words that Mrs. Tang liked to hear. Sure enough, after hearing what Su Yu said, Mrs. Tang's expression improved a lot. I'm just worried that the girl won't like him since he likes to play around. If that happens, not only will he waste his time, but he'll also end up like he did with Jin Ing. What are we going to do? How can we still be his parents? Mrs. Tang even wiped her tears when she spoke about her feelings. Even Su Yu's heart ached when he saw this. Chapter 2191. He won't, Auntie. He's not a kid anymore. He won't be so reckless. Did he say when he'll be back? He said he'll be back for the spring festival. It said that Qin Ning and her father will come back to reunite with Qin Chu and the others. That's great. The spring festival is less than half a month away. Mrs. Tang's eyes lit up. Yeah. So don't worry, Auntie. You, when you contact him again, ask him to call home first. I don't care about him, call his father first. His father is old now, and he misses him a lot. Although he doesn't say it out loud, he still has his son in his heart. Okay, don't worry. I'll tell him. Go to your work. Sometimes I'll go to your house and have tea with your mother. Okay, you're welcome. After some pleasantries, Su Yu saw Mrs. Tang off. Finally relieved, he took out his cell phone and sent a WeChat message. Su Yu, Mr. Tang come out. Tang Chuan, speak. Su Yu, you're acting cool with me, aren't you? You even replied with one word? Tang Chuan, ha, I'm cooking. Su Yu, cooking? Tang Chuan, what? You don't believe me? Su Yu, so is your cooking edible? Tang Chuan, damn. What are you talking about? I'm a good cook. Although I haven't cooked for many years, I still have some skills. You and Wei Liao once ate my egg fried rice. Have you forgotten? Su Yu, I don't dare to forget. That was the worst egg fried rice I've ever eaten in my life. It tasted like smoke and was as disgusting as it could get. Tang Chuan, can't we have a nice chat? Su Yu, okay. Let's stop joking. Your mother just came to my company. Tang Chuan, what's she doing there? Su Yu, of course she's looking for you. She said you're missing and suspects you've been kidnapped. Tang Chuan, humph. She doesn't trust her son that much? This old lady's IQ has obviously deteriorated. Su Yu, but seriously, if you want to go to the U.S., why didn't you contact your family? Tang Chuan, before we went to America, we already had a fight. That's why I didn't want to call. Su Yu, why? Tang Chuan, I don't know where my dad got a distant cousin from, but she brought a sweet and naive daughter with her. She said she was a teacher at some famous school and came from a scholarly family. She wanted to be my wife. Actually, that girl was also at the birthday party that day. She was with her mother, but they didn't have a chance to show off. But when she saw me kiss Qin Ning, she cried and threw a tantrum. My dad felt embarrassed. My mom was fine and didn't say anything. You know how she is. After hearing about Ning's family background, she thought it would be good for our family. But my dad wholeheartedly thought that female teacher was more suitable for me and didn't want me to go to the States. TTT. I don't think she's suitable for you. I really can't control you. Tang Chuan, that's what I said too. But my parents love her so much. They said she's innocent and has no history of relationships. They said she's a virgin and she's so old-fashioned. Damn, I'm so annoyed. What's even more ridiculous is that the mother and daughter actually stayed here. They said the woman took a leave of absence and would stay here for 2 months to get to know me better. Damn. Su Yu, so? Tang Chuan, So from that day on, I stopped answering their calls. They're a waste of my time. Su Yu, I don't think that's the main point. The main point is that your heart is on Qin Ning, right? Tang Chuan, you know me best. Su Yu, then you'll be back in a few days? Before Su Yu could finish, Tang Chuan interrupted him. Let's not talk about it anymore. Lord Su, I've already finished my soup. After Tang Chuan said this, he put his phone aside. He lifted the lid of the pot and checked the heat. Little Chuan, when can we eat? I'm starving. Qin Ning walked into the kitchen with a can of Coke in her hand. She looked like a big sister. Chapter 2192. Right away. Give me 3 more minutes, huh? Tang Chuan immediately replied with a smile. Qin Ning curiously craned her neck and looked into the pot. Then she was quite doubtful. Is it okay? Can the food you cook be eaten? Of course it's okay, trust me. But the kitchen smells so bad. You should go out and wait. Ha, it'll be ready soon. Okay, hurry up. Qin Ning picked up the leftover tomatoes on the kitchen chopping board and ate them as she walked. In the blink of an eye, it had been more than 20 days since Tang Chuan arrived in Los Angeles. At first, she was extremely uncomfortable and chased him away every day. Now, she was used to his presence. At home, he made breakfast for Qin Ning every morning. Although it was just simple milk and toast, Qin Ning was satisfied. However, Qin Ning was satisfied. The United States was different from China. Most Americans were independent. They rarely hired nannies. Qin Ning's father flew all over the world. Most of the mansions at home were taken care of by her alone. There were also many bodyguards, so Qin Ning made her own food most of the time. If she woke up late in the morning, she would skip breakfast and go to the company for a simple lunch. However, after Tang Chuan came, her 3 meals became regular. If there was a day when she skipped breakfast, she would feel hungry. It seemed that habit was really a scary thing. Qin Ning sat in the spacious dining room, playing with her phone, communicating with the company's employees and sending voice commands. Tang Chuan carefully brought out a pot of soup. Then, he brought out the scallion pancakes that he had made earlier. He didn't want to make something as difficult as scallion pancakes. However, Qin Ning loved to eat noodles, whether it was steamed buns, dumplings, or noodles. She liked all kinds of things, but Qin Ning grew up in the United States and ate more hamburgers, steak, and spaghetti. Therefore, in order to show his warm side, Tang Chuan downloaded the recipe online and went to the Chinese supermarket in Chinatown to buy ingredients. He made scallion pancakes and cucumber, tomato, and egg soup for Qin Ning. Although it wasn't very difficult, for a young master like Tang Chuan, it was the limit. Ning Ning, it's time to eat. This biscuit? Why does it look so mushy? It's turning black. Qin Ning pouted. Ah, let me eat this black one. You eat the bottom one. Tang Chuan immediately picked up the slightly burnt one and put it in his bowl. Seeing him do this, Qin Ning suddenly felt sad and rushed to take the biscuit back. Don't. I like to eat burnt food, actually. Tang Chuan silently scooped a bowl of soup and handed it to Qin Ning. The soup should be very successful. I boiled it for a long time and even the essence is coming out. Qin Ning took it and carefully took a sip. What do you think? Is the taste okay? Is it salty? Tang Chuan was looking forward to it. It's okay. It's not that bad. At least, it's better than I thought. Qin Ning didn't change the Qin family's inherited arrogance. Hee, I'm satisfied with this evaluation. Tang Chuan laughed. Then you're really easy to satisfy. Qin Ning looked up and glanced at him. Of course, I'm happy when I'm satisfied. That's why I look younger and more handsome than Lord Su and your brothers, right? Tang Chuan began to show off. Shameless. Qin Ning dissed him. He was used to it and it was like eating a meal. He had been by Qin Ning's side for the past few days. During the day, he worked as her assistant at the company and at night, he came back to cook for her. Tang Chuan was willing to work hard without complaint. Qin Ning gradually changed her opinion of him as they got to know each other. What's the use of being shy? It's not like I can have another wife. But Ning Ning, when can I pass the probation period? How long do you plan on testing me? Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning expectantly. Chapter 2193. What trial period? Qin Ning pretended not to know. The trial period to be your boyfriend? Oh, I see. But I think it's great that you're my assistant during the day and my nanny at night. I like the way life is now. Qin Ning smiled. No way. Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. Did he overreach himself? But being an assistant and a nanny has its limitations. There are a lot of things that I can't do. What's the matter? Qin Ning didn't understand such a dirty topic. Come here, I'll tell you. Tang Chuan beckoned her over with his finger. Qin Ning leaned over with a serious expression, ready to listen to Tang Chuan's long speech. But when she leaned over, her lips were sucked by the man in front of her in the next second, and his strength was extremely domineering. Qin Ning's brain short-circuited again. The scene from the birthday party replayed itself. Surprisingly, she was a little addicted to it this time. Perhaps it was because her feelings for this man were different. Just then, the door opened. Qin Ning reacted quickly and pushed Tang Chuan away. Then, she saw Qin Ning's father appear at the door with a suitcase. Behind him were two bodyguards. Daddy, why are you back? Qin Ning immediately stood up guiltily. Hello, uncle. Tang Chuan was no stranger to Qin Ning's father. In fact, he was a little friendly. Yeah, I had a last-minute meeting, so I flew back. Did you guys just eat? Qin Ning's father asked seriously. Oh, Ning Ning wanted to eat pancakes, so I tried to make some. Pancakes? You know how to make pancakes? Qin Ning's father was in disbelief. Uncle, since you're back, let's eat together. Although the taste might not be authentic, at least it's a gift from Miha. Tang Chuan immediately poured a bowl of soup for Qin Ning's father. Qin Ning's father didn't hesitate. He put his suitcase aside, sat down at the table, and took a sip of the soup. It's not bad. You're a good cook. His future father-in-law was very satisfied with him, which made Tang Chuan feel a little proud. Daddy, your taste is too vulgar. You call this good? Look at the pancakes, they're burnt. Qin Ning seemed reluctant to admit Tang Chuan's good points. Qin Ning's father didn't respond. Instead, he looked at Tang Chuan and asked, Young man, are you planning to freeload here? Qin Ning's father's words and Tang Chuan's father. Fortunately, he was thick-skinned and didn't care about this. He then scratched his head and smiled. Uncle, I'm not a freeloader. I can also pay rent, but our family doesn't need that money. Qin Ning's father looked serious. Qin Ning panicked, thinking that her father was going to kick Tang Chuan out, so she immediately explained, Dad, he came to Los Angeles because of me and he doesn't have any friends here. If he moves out, he might not be safe. You know, the security here isn't very good. There are always black people who break into our house and rob us. Our family is so big, one more person or one less person doesn't matter. He's not freeloading either. He helps me in the company during the day and even cooks for me at night. Ning Ning, don't panic. Let me finish. Qin Ning's father reached out his hand to interrupt his beloved daughter. Then he looked at Tang Chuan. Don't be afraid, I'm not trying to kick you out. What I mean is, if you want to stay in our family, you need a legitimate identity. Identity? Tang Chuan was confused. He didn't know what Qin Ning's father was up to. Yes, so I'm asking, do you mind being a live-in son-in-law? Qin Ning's father finished his sentence. Tang Chuan almost spat out the soup in his mouth. Qin Ning also coughed violently. Dad, what are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense. What live-in son-in-law? Who wants to marry him? This. Tang Chuan didn't know what to say. Was happiness coming too suddenly? But what the hell was this about? Kid, what do you think? Qin Ning's father ignored his daughter and looked at Tang Chuan. Chapter 2194. Oh, this is a bit too sudden. Tang Chuan stuttered. After seeing Tang Chuan's reaction, Mr. Qin's face fell. So, you don't plan on marrying my daughter, you just want to play with her? I'm serious about Ning Ning. Heaven and earth are my witnesses. Tang Chuan waved his hands and hurriedly explained. Isn't marriage the ultimate goal? Mr. Qin asked. That's true. Tang Chuan nodded. So, as a live-in son-in-law, is there a problem with you marrying into our family? You know that I don't have a son. I only have one daughter, and GK is in need of manpower. Ever since my nephew, Qin Chu, came back to China, GK has been busier than ever. If you really love Ning Ning, then stay and help her, help us manage our family business. But, marrying into our family might be hard on you. After all, you're from a big family. It's up to you. If you agree, then stay and I'll find a time for you to get married. If you don't agree, then don't live here. Pack up your things and go back to China tomorrow. Mr. Qin then stood up and said, Dad, how can you be so arbitrary? You didn't even discuss it with me? Qin Ning was a little angry. I'm your father, I'm doing this for your own good. There's no need to discuss this, let him think about it. But uncle, I'm just a playboy who only knows how to eat, drink, and have fun. I'm just a freeloader at home. You should know that I haven't gone to work all these years. Are you sure you want me to be your son-in-law? Aren't you afraid that I'll ruin your family's fortune? You can fool others, but you can't fool me. I've checked your Swiss bank account. You haven't worked in the past few years and have been investing all over the country. You've made a lot of money. I'm sure a lot of people don't know about this. Uncle, you checked on me? Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. He had always kept a low profile, and only Wei Liao and Qin Chu knew about his Swiss bank account. He didn't think that Qin Ning's father would find out so easily. It seemed like the older, the wiser. Swiss bank account? Private money? Qin Ning looked at Tang Chuan in disbelief. If not for her father's words, she would have thought that Tang Chuan was just a prodigal who only knew how to eat, drink, and play all day long. Ning Ning, this kid isn't an ordinary person. It's a waste of his talent to let him be your assistant and nanny. You have one night to think about what I said. Tomorrow, either I see a live-in son-in-law of the Qin family, or you leave. No discussion. Mr. Qin's attitude was firm. After saying that, he went straight upstairs. Tang Chuan and Qin Ning looked at each other helplessly. After a while, Qin Ning said softly, I'm sorry. My dad has a very stubborn temper. He likes to act on his own when he's decided on something. He's just like my brother, one-track-minded. It's so annoying. I didn't expect him to have such thoughts. You don't have to apologize. Your dad is right. I can't possibly stay at your house for the rest of my life, Tang Chuan said word by word. I'll go upstairs and help you pack. You can go home tomorrow. Qin Ning knew that Tang Chuan was a very important member of the Tang family. The Tang family would never allow their son to marry into their family. In the eyes of the rich, most men who married into their family were good-for-nothings who relied on nepotism and women to get to where they were. No one would think highly of them. The Tang family couldn't afford to lose face like this, and neither could Tang Chuan. Over the past few days, Qin Ning had learned about Tang Chuan's temper. She also knew that he was a very thoughtful person. He would never agree to her father's suggestion. However, when she thought about how he was going to leave so soon, Qin Ning still felt uncomfortable. You're willing to let me go? Tang Chuan looked into Qin Ning's eyes and asked. What else can I do? Do I really want you to marry into our family? Qin Ning asked sadly. Chapter 2195. What else can I do? Do I really have to leave you all alone? You're so busy at work every day, and you have to eat cold food when you go home. You can't even have a hot meal? Tang Chuan spread his hands helplessly. However, his concern for Qin Ning was genuine. Qin Ning's heart was filled with warmth. After a long silence, Qin Ning looked up at him. Tang Chuan, thank you for taking care of me recently. You helped me with work at the company without complaint, and you even cooked and washed my clothes for me at night. I really am. I've bullied you so much, but my dad's idea? I really can't do that. I can't do that to you. I can't be selfish and cause you to be cursed as a son-in-law for the rest of your life. So, you really don't like me, no matter what, you don't want to be with me, right? Tang Chuan asked. Qin Ning was silent. They had been getting along well these past few days, but Qin Ning still didn't dare to give up her heart so easily. After all, she had never been in a relationship before. The truth was she was afraid. She was afraid of getting hurt, and she was also afraid that she couldn't take on the role of a lover. She also had some feelings for Su Yu before, but they hadn't reached the stage of officially dating. Qin Ning's silence chilled Tang Chuan's heart. I don't dare to say that I'm a good and responsible man, but at least I'll make sure that my woman won't be wronged for the rest of her life. My feelings for you are real, or I wouldn't have chased you all the way to the States. I'm willing to help you at the company and cook for you at home because it's you, so it's worth it. But, since you still don't understand how you feel about me, I can understand. If you don't have the courage to take that step forward, I can understand. I won't make things difficult for you. I've been happy for a while, so there's no need to thank me. I'm going to pack my things and leave tomorrow morning. That's all. After Tang Chuan finished speaking, he turned around and went upstairs. Qin Ning, on the other hand, suddenly felt something in her heart faintly working. It was as if something was flowing away. It was a magical feeling. She wanted to ask him to stay, but she couldn't open her mouth because she wasn't sure if she liked him. Including the kiss just now, she didn't know if she forgot to push him away because she didn't know how to kiss, or if she really liked him and enjoyed this feeling. She really didn't know. She thought that the two of them would get along well, but she didn't expect that Qin Ning's father would come back and break the pattern. In fact, old Master Qin liked Tang Chuan very much. He had been observing Tang Chuan for more than 20 days. There were surveillance cameras in the house. He could see his every move and how he felt about his daughter, especially when they found out that he had been investing all these years and had made a lot of money, keeping it in a Swiss bank. He also felt that this young man was very business-minded, so Mr. Qin was eager to keep Tang Chuan as his family's helper. Then, he could also find someone for his daughter to rely on. Unfortunately, haste makes waste. His forceful intervention caused the relationship between Tang Chuan and Qin Ning to deteriorate. After Tang Chuan returned to his room, he did not come out again. Qin Ning went to the study in a daze. She wanted to continue working, but she realized that she was not in the mood to do anything. Just then, Mr. Qin knocked on the door and walked in. "Daddy." Qin Ning opened her mouth, but she was obviously not in a good mood. "Still working?" Mr. Qin looked at his daughter and asked in a serious tone. Chapter 2196. Yeah, I still have some work to do. Qin Ning held the mouse and stared at the computer screen. Her heart was in a mess. "What did you talk about with that kid?" "We didn't talk much. He's leaving tomorrow." Qin Ning was expressionless, trying to hide her disappointment. "Leaving tomorrow? He didn't agree to my request?" Mr. Qin was surprised. "Daddy, you're already so old. Don't be so childish, okay?" Tang Chuan comes from a prestigious family. The Tang Corporation is very famous in the country. His assets aren't any worse than ours. His father is the head of the family. Why would he let his son marry into our family? Qin Ning said impatiently. "Did he say that himself, or did you say it for him?" Mr. Qin asked. "Is there a difference?" Qin Ning was distracted. "Of course there is. If he said it himself, then it means that he really doesn't care about you. It's okay for a man like him to leave. But if you made the decision for him, then you're just being stubborn. After all, you're not him. You don't know what he's thinking. Forget it, Dad. Let's not talk about this. Tang Chuan and I. That's it. It's good that we're friends. Don't make things difficult for him. I'm still young and I'm not in a hurry to get married. If you need help, you can find a few managers to help us. Just hire more executives. Don't think about my marriage." Qin Ning seemed to be angry with her father, so her tone wasn't very good. Ning, Daddy, I'm tired. I'll go to sleep after I'm done with work. You should rest early too." Qin Ning didn't give her father the right to speak. Mr. Qin sighed and didn't say anything else. He turned around and left. He wanted to have a good talk with that kid, but he thought that the more he said, the more meaningless it would be. Just like that, in the huge mansion, the three of them stayed in 3 different rooms, each with their own thoughts. Qin Ning and Tang Chuan couldn't sleep. The silence was terrifying. Qin Ning held her phone and scrolled through her WeChat moments. She waited for Tang Chuan, hoping that he would say something to her. Unfortunately, he didn't say anything. Qin Ning wanted to take the initiative to say something to him, but she realized that she didn't know what to say. Finally, at 11:40 a.m., Tang Chuan updated his WeChat moments. I can afford to play, and I can also protect myself. I can be so fickle that you're afraid of me, but I can also be so single-minded that you're surprised. I can be like a king in the business world, and I can also enjoy a simple life with you at home. All of this depends on who you are and how you treat me. Freezing at 0 degrees Celsius and boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. The temperature you give me is determined by my attitude towards you. So, please don't look at me from your point of view, because I'm afraid you'll never understand. After reading this, Qin Ning had mixed feelings. This was the first time she had seen such a gloomy side to Tang Chuan. It was a stark contrast to his usual mischievous self. After some thought, she couldn't help but send him a WeChat message. "Are you asleep?" she typed. "I'm going to sleep now," Tang Chuan replied instantly. "All right then, good night. I'll drive you to the airport tomorrow. I've already booked the ticket for you." "Thank you." Tang Chuan's reply was very distant. This kind of reaction made Qin Ning feel both gratified and disappointed. Shouldn't she be happy that Tang Chuan didn't continue to pester her? Qin Ning booked Tang Chuan's ticket for 10 a.m. the next day. At 6 a.m., she couldn't sleep. With dark circles under her eyes, she got up to toast some bread and prepare some warm milk. She planned to have breakfast with Tang Chuan. When she knocked on the door, she realized that there was no response. "Can I come in, Tang Chuan?" Qin Ning thought that he was taking a shower and couldn't hear her. Chapter 2197. When she pushed open the door, she was completely dumbfounded. Tang Chuan's room was clean and tidy, without a speck of dust. The quilt on the bed was also neatly folded. He left. This was Qin Ning's first reaction. Then she walked over and saw a small note on the bedside table. On it was a beautiful string of English words. He wrote, "Ning Ning, I'm leaving. I'm sorry, I don't have the courage to say goodbye to you in person. I'm afraid I won't be able to bear it. That's it. Thank you for letting me freeload all this time. You can refund my ticket. I've booked a ticket to Spain myself." Qin Ning didn't know why, but when she saw this, tears immediately flowed down her face. He left. He really left. He didn't say goodbye to her. She clutched the note tightly, then turned and ran downstairs. Looking at the bodyguards downstairs, she anxiously asked in English, "Did you see my friend Tang? When did he leave?" "It was around 3 in the morning. When I was practicing, I saw him leave the house with a suitcase." 3 a.m. Qin Ning looked down at the time on her phone. It was already 6:30 a.m. It seemed like it was too late to go to the airport to find him. There were flights to all over the world in Los Angeles 24 hours a day. Just then, Mr. Qin came downstairs. "Ning Ning, what's wrong?" "Nothing, Dad. I'm going to work now. Breakfast is ready. It's in the kitchen. Remember to eat." Qin Ning grabbed her bag and drove out in her sports car in a bad mood. On the way, she put on her headphones and called Tang Chuan. "Sorry, the number you have dialed is unavailable." It seemed like he got on the plane. His phone was turned off. Qin Ning had never been so scared in her life. She felt like something precious had slipped away from her eyes. She wanted to cry but couldn't. She really hated herself for being like this. Was it so hard to just tell him directly to stay? In the early morning in Los Angeles, Qin Ning sped along the coastal road, feeling extremely unhappy. And Tang Chuan was indeed on a flight to Barcelona. Parting was so sudden, and it came so suddenly. South Side Recuperation Center. After the morning meeting, President Wu stopped Huamin. "Mian, come to my office for a second." Huamin nodded. After the meeting, he chatted with President Wu as they walked. "I've been on a lot of business trips recently and haven't been in the city much. Have you gotten used to it while you've been back?" "Yes, I'm used to it." "Very good." Huamin smiled. "I heard a little about your daughter a while ago. Is she all right now?" "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern." As they spoke, the two of them walked into the office one after another. President Wu took out an exquisite gift box and handed it to Huamin. I went to America for a seminar last week and went to see Xiaoxue. She asked me to bring this to you. It's for your twins. Please thank Xiaoxue for me. Huamin took the gift box and found that it was 2 sets of doll dresses for girls. Xiaoxue was really thoughtful. They might come back this spring festival because Ziwan's parents are getting old and they're not used to living in America. Xiaoxue said that if she comes back, she'll come and see you. That's great. I haven't seen her in a long time. Has Xinyue grown up? Yes, she's very tall. She speaks fluent English and Chinese. President Wu smiled. Time flies. Now that I think about it, meeting Xiaoxue feels like it was only yesterday. As the two of them chatted, a nurse rushed in a panic and even forgot to knock on the door. Vice Director Hua, hurry up. The woman in the VIP room is crazy. She's holding a pair of scissors and wants to kill herself. She's yelling that she wants to see you. Huamin's heart sank. He guessed that it was Jian Tong. Chapter 2198. I'll go right now. Huamin was anxious, and he immediately turned around and left the office. President Wu followed him out as well. Ridiculous things like this rarely happened at Southside because they were targeted at high-class people. Therefore, President Wu was a little worried when he heard that the patient was about to commit suicide. Almost no one in the hospital knew that the VIP patient was Jian Tong because she was severely injured after the car accident. She was wrapped up in gauze like a mummy. Neither her family nor the company talked about it, and the media didn't know either. Therefore, almost no one knew about the subtle relationship between Jian Tong and Huamin. When Huamin arrived, Jian Tong was already holding a pair of scissors to her neck. She seemed to be very agitated. I want to see Huamin. I know she works at this hospital. Hurry up and call her over, or I'll die here. Jian Tong's voice was hysterical, scaring the nurses who were taking care of her. Jian Tong's mother was so scared that she almost had a heart attack. I'm here. Don't be so agitated. Huamin appeared at the door just in time. He was wearing a white lab coat and black-rimmed glasses. This was the first time Jian Tong saw Huamin since the accident. Ah, you came at the right time. Great. Jian Tong looked at Huamin with a bone-chilling sneer on her face. You really didn't have to do this. Why did you have to do this? Huamin looked at Jian Tong, who was wrapped up like a dumpling from head to toe. Huamin's comforting words seemed to fall short of his wishes. Huamin didn't have a good impression of someone who almost killed her own daughter. He didn't think that she was pitiful at all. She only had herself to blame. Let me tell you, you've all been fooled by this woman. Actually, Huamin is the most scheming bitch. She would do anything to get rid of me. She even asked her daughter to set me up. She's so despicable. Why do so many men fall in love with a woman like you? Ha! Are they all blind? Jian Tong looked at Huamin and cursed. At that moment, she no longer had the aura of a superstar. She was simply a shrew, a lunatic who cursed in the streets. Vice Director Hua. The nurses around her tried to stop Jian Tong from scolding Huamin. Let her scold. I won't lower myself to the level of a lunatic. In Huamin's opinion, Jian Tong had already lost her mind. Ever since her car accident, her emotions had been extremely unstable. Because of her serious injuries and disfigurement, she had basically been screaming and smashing things every day. Whether it was mentally or physically, she couldn't accept her miserable state, not to mention Su Yu's extremely cold attitude towards her. It made her want to die, but she didn't have the courage to do so. So, Mr. Qin was right. She was suffering every day. She was living in agony. This was even scarier than death. Mental illness. Are you saying that I'm mentally ill? Huamin, let me tell you, I'm more clear-headed than I ever have been. I've been thinking about something for the past few days. How could it be so coincidental that I went to President Su's mansion and your daughter showed up there at the right time? So, this was all part of your scheme. You're so evil, you're willing to do anything to stop me from being with President Su. You used your stupid but evil daughter as bait. You knew that I might have done something to it, but you still ate it on purpose. Then, you used it as a ruse to get everyone's sympathy and set me up. Huamin, are you still human? Jian Tong's every word was filled with anger. No one else could understand what she was saying. They didn't even know who she was. Only Huamian knew that she was still talking about Little Bean's accident that day. Chapter 2199. You overestimate me. I'm not heartless enough to use my own life to harm you. Besides, compared to my daughter, you're nothing. You don't deserve to be harmed by my daughter, let alone you. Huamin calmly retorted. I don't believe you. I won't believe you no matter what you say. You win, you're heartless. That's why I'm in this state. Huamin, you'll get what you deserve. You'll go to hell when you die, Jian Tong viciously cursed. I'll be fine while I'm alive. After I die, I don't care if I go to heaven or hell. You're thinking too far ahead. Compared to Jian Tong's craziness, Huamin was as calm and collected as ever. This made Jian Tong even more agitated. She swung the scissors left and right, as if she was going to cut herself at any moment. Call the police and ask the firefighters to come. Huamin turned around and whispered to the nurse behind him. That was because she realized that Jian Tong was going to cause trouble today. She would not let this matter rest until she caused trouble. Everyone listen up. Even if I die here today, it's all because of this woman. She forced me to die. I'll never forgive you, Huamin. I hate you to death. You bitch. Jian Tong said as she brought the scissors to her neck. At that moment, Huamin was quite nervous. After all, it was a human life. However, before the scissors could reach her, Jian Tong's vision suddenly turned black and she fainted. Someone hurry up and save her. My daughter fainted. Jian Tong's mother screamed from the side. As a doctor, Huamin reflexively rushed over to help her up to the bed and give her first aid. However, the moment Huamin touched her, a pair of cold scissors suddenly pressed against Huamin's neck. Jian Tong opened her eyes with an evil smile on her face. You've been tricked, haven't you? The compassionate Dr. Hua? Let go of our Vice Director Hua. We can talk about this, don't get too worked up. President Wu was terrified. He felt more nervous than ever as he watched Huamin being held hostage by a patient. Jian Tong's scissors were pressed tightly against Huamian's pale neck. The sharp blades of the scissors pierced into her flesh. Drops of blood dripped down her neck. Huamian felt a chill on her neck, followed by a stinging pain. Back all of you, I'll kill her right now. Jian Tong yelled. The medical staff and President Wu were so scared that they quickly backed away. Tong, what are you doing? Why don't you take care of yourself? Jian Tong's mother was crying so hard that she couldn't catch her breath. She didn't know why her daughter had to do something so extreme. Why did she have to make life difficult for this female doctor? Get out of my way. Jian Tong dragged Huamin out of the building. They passed through the long corridor and went up to the rooftop. It was late winter and the Lunar New Year was approaching, so the rooftop was exceptionally cold. The temperature was -20 degrees Celsius. Both of them were pale from the cold. Jian Tong dragged Huamin to the edge of the rooftop. They were on the 12th floor. If they fell, there was no chance of survival. I want to see Suyu. Hurry up and get Suyu here. Jian Tong made her second request. Immediately, someone tried to call Imperial Star's headquarters to contact Suyu. Suyu was in a shareholders' meeting. He had his laptop open and was analyzing the year's data. And knocked on the door and walked in. He whispered something into Suyu's ear. He immediately stood up and ran out without looking back, leaving behind a group of dumbfounded shareholders. Mr. Su has something to do. You can leave now, and said. Suyu drove his Lamborghini to South Side without stopping. He rushed to the rooftop. The whole process took less than 18 minutes. Let her go. These were the first words Suyu said as he rushed up to her. Chapter 2200. Suyu, you're finally here. For the first time, Jian Tong didn't address Suyu as President Su. Instead, she called him Suyu. Her eyes were filled with hatred because she would never forget that Suyu had killed her. Jian Tong, don't make any more mistakes. Let's talk things over. Let go of Huamin first. Huamin was in danger. This was Su Yu's bottom line. When Su Yu came up, he saw this scene. Jian Tong was dressed in a hospital gown. Her face was covered in white gauze and she was holding a pair of sharp scissors in her hand. She pressed the scissors against Huamin's neck. Perhaps it had been a long time, but some of the blood had already dried up. Huamin was also wearing thin clothes. Because the room was air-conditioned, she only wore a shirt underneath. She was wearing a white lab coat over her work clothes. It was a cold day and they had been outside for almost 20 minutes. Both of them seemed to be freezing, but Jian Tong had no intention of letting go. Also, no one dared to force her. Behind Jian Tong was the 12th floor of the building. If they were not careful, they would fall to their deaths. After hearing Su Yu's words, Jian Tong laughed maniacally. Now you're telling me to talk things over? Isn't it a little too late? Su, when I begged you, what did you say? You were extremely cold. You even insisted that I should die. You even threatened me with my family and told me to kill myself. Look at how cruel you are. I gave you the money because you did something unforgivable. Jian Tong, don't always blame others for your mistakes. The world is big, not everyone is your mother. Everyone spoils you. When you're wrong, no one can say anything. But when someone else is wrong, you're going to hold a grudge for the rest of your life. What kind of logic is that? Huamin couldn't take it anymore and rebutted Jian Tong. Bitch, shut up. Do you think I won't kill you right now? Jian Tong was provoked and used even more force. Huamin felt the stabbing pain in her neck get worse, however, she continued to mock. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it a long time ago. I wouldn't have waited for Su Yu to come. You asked him to come so you could find a way out? I advise you to calm down. After all, you don't want to die, right? Jian Tong, the more you do, the faster you die. I advise you to stop immediately if you don't want to die. If you continue like this, your end will be very miserable. Huamin could tell that Jian Tong didn't want to die. She did what she did because she wanted to live. However, Jian Tong hated the feeling of being seen through. She immediately became hysterical. Huamin, shut the fuck up. I hate it when you're always high and mighty and know everything. If you're so powerful, why do you have to live such a miserable life? Your stepfather died because of you, your husband crashed because of you, and now he's crippled. Su Yu went from being an insufferably arrogant prince to an idiot because of you. Do you think you're so powerful? In fact, you're just a bitch, a shameless bitch. Jian Tong scolded her with the harshest words. Huamin, on the other hand, was calm. She wasn't afraid at all, even though Jian Tong had lost her mind. However, she knew that Jian Tong's goal wasn't to kill her. She just wanted to do this to find a way out from Su Yu. Huamin, stop talking. Su Yu's heart ached. He was afraid that Jian Tong would be in danger, so he didn't want her to continue. Su Yu, how despicable are you? She has a husband. Her husband isn't you. Jian Tong looked at Su Yu viciously. Jian Tong, what do you want? Name your price. Don't waste any more time. Su Yu looked at Jian Tong calmly. It's simple. I want an international check for 1 billion, my passport, and a helicopter. I want to leave here as soon as possible. Chapter 2201. No problem, let her go first. Su Yu agreed without hesitation. Su Yu, don't be ridiculous. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? If I don't get the money or see the helicopter, why would I let her go? Jian Tong was ready to risk everything, so she didn't care how she repaired her relationship with Su Yu in the future. She only knew that if she stayed in the hospital, she would die. Su Yu wouldn't let her go, Huamin wouldn't, and Qin Chu definitely wouldn't. Therefore, after much thought, she had no choice but to cut off all means of retreat. You've known me for so long, you should know that I'm a man of my word. Su Yu was slightly angry. That was in the past. Why should I trust you now? You're willing to let me die for this woman and her child. So, don't tell me you're a man of your word. I only trust what I see with my own eyes. The money, the passport, the helicopter. Hurry up, I have to get out of here right now. Otherwise, I'll die with Huamin. Jian Tong was ready to risk everything. At the same time, on the top floor of the old industrial building across from Southside Recuperation Center, Gao Ran, Qin Chu, and the sniper were ready to take aim. What do you think? Is the angle okay? Qin Chu's mind was in a mess, but he had to calm down and think of a way to save his wife. In order not to agitate Jian Tong, Qin Chu didn't go to the scene because Jian Tong specifically asked to see Su Yu. However, how could Mr. Qin remain calm when he found out that his wife was being held hostage and her life was in danger? He was scared out of his wits. Just as Gao Ran said, no matter how calm and collected Qin Chu was normally, he would break down when it came to Huamin because he loved and cared too much. Chief Gao, this isn't a good position. The suspect is behind us, facing the hostage. If I were to shoot, there's a high chance that the bullet will hurt the hostage. The sniper found a drawback after taking aim. Because there were no floors higher than the inpatient department on either side of Southside, it was impossible to enter from the side. It could only be seen from the industrial building opposite, but this way, the visual angle was limited. Then what should we do? Gao Ran was also anxious. He looked at Qin Chu and couldn't make up his mind. Have the sniper stay here and wait for an opportunity. Maybe the suspect is emotionally unstable and will make a big move. As long as she doesn't overlap with Huamian's position, shoot her immediately, Qin Chu analyzed. It looks like that's the only way. But you don't have to worry too much. There are ambulances and firefighters downstairs. Even if there's an accident, her life won't be in danger. Gao Ran knew that Qin Chu was worried about his wife, so he patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. I'm not worried about them falling off the building. I'm worried that Jian Tong will go crazy and hurt Huamian with a knife. Qin Chu answered worriedly. This was the problem that he was most worried about but couldn't solve. He didn't have to worry about them falling off the building. Although the 12th floor was high, there were protective measures downstairs. What he was worried about was that Jian Tong would become emotionally unstable. If she didn't agree with him, she would lose all hope and cut Huamin's throat with a knife. The consequences would be unimaginable. In other words, Huamin was being held hostage by a crazy person like Jian Tong. Huamin's life was in danger at any moment. No wonder Qin Chu was so anxious and looked so gloomy. After thinking about it, Qin Chu decided to call Su Yu. He took out his phone and dialed. Su Yu picked up the call but didn't say anything. However, he knew that it was Qin Chu's number. Chapter 2202. Su Yu, listen to me. Our snipers are ready at the industrial building across from you. However, Jian Tong's position overlaps with Huamian's, so they can't shoot. What you need to do now is to provoke Jian Tong with your words so that she will shift her hatred to you instead of Huamian. If she does anything else, we'll find a chance to shoot. That's all. Qin Chu calmly analyzed the situation, and Su Yu immediately understood. After all, he had been trained in the military. Su Yu was on the phone, so he couldn't let Jian Tong find out. Therefore, he pretended to be serious and said, "Okay, I understand. But hurry up and bring the check. Also, hurry up and ask for the helicopter. I've already promised her." Upon hearing Su Yu's words, Jian Tong thought that there was news about the helicopter and the check. A glimmer of hope lit up in her eyes. She impatiently asked, "When will they arrive? My money and the helicopter?" "Soon, so you can't act rashly? Don't hurt Huamian. Miaman, do you only have eyes for this woman? Su Yu, you're the biggest idiot in the world. You like her so much and treat her so well, but what has she ever given you? Unless she's born to be cold and pretentious, she hasn't given you anything. She hasn't even slept with you, and you're still thinking about her? Did she cast a spell on you?" Jian Tong was so jealous of Huamin. Seeing how Su Yu was so worried about Huamin's safety at such a critical moment, she couldn't help but feel jealous. She was going crazy with jealousy. Love doesn't ask for anything in return. If you treat someone well and ask them to reciprocate, that's not love. It's a deal, so you don't understand? I don't ask her to give me anything. I just want her to live a happy life. Su Yu's words were from the bottom of his heart. However, the more he said this, the more Jian Tong couldn't stand it. "Su Yu, why don't you think about it? What if she's playing you on purpose? All these years, I've played you, Qin Chu, and Huasiqian in the palm of my hand. Yet, the few of you still have no complaints or regrets. Isn't that lamentable? She's not as innocent as you think she is. You'll regret it if you continue to be like this. She doesn't respond to your love, but she's still keeping you in suspense. Think about it, you're already over 30 years old, but you're still single. You're from a prestigious family, and you're the young master of the Su family, but you're being played by a lowly commoner. If you continue to be entangled with her, you'll end up alone. She has a husband and a child. You have nothing. You idiot. Pa. After saying that, Jian Tong threw her head back and laughed. His smile was very mournful. Huamin sighed sadly. At this time, she didn't want to think too much. Jian Tong's insanity had reached the highest level in history. Her thoughts and logic were in a mess. So, no matter what she said, it would be useless. So, she decided not to say anything. However, she knew that Su Yu wouldn't be fooled by Jian Tong's words. After all, Jian Tong was crazy, but Su Yu wasn't. Thinking about what Qin Chu had told him, Su Yu looked up at Jian Tong and said, "Even if Huamin wants to play me, I'll do it. I'll do it willingly. But even if you send yourself to my doorstep, I won't. A person who isn't kind to begin with is destined to never be happy. If you're kind, God will protect you. Jian Tong, you've made too many mistakes. Don't keep making them. If you let Huamin go this time, I promise I'll let you live and send you abroad." Su Yu was a little tired. In fact, seeing Jian Tong like this didn't make him feel very comfortable. When Jian Tong came to Imperial Star, she wasn't even 20 years old. At that time, she was still a shy and smiling little girl. What made her become so ferocious? What made her become like this? Su Yu didn't know either. "Will you really let me go?" Jian Tong looked at Su Yu doubtfully. Chapter 2203. I will, as long as you stop right now, I can forgive you. What about Qin Chu? He won't let me go, right? Even if he does, Huasiqian won't let me go, because I know that if I hurt even a hair on Huamin's head, you'll kill me. So, I can't turn back, it's too late. It's too late, Jian Tong muttered to herself. Su Yu was afraid that she would hurt Huamin, so he tried to calm her down. It's not too late, as long as you let go of Huamin now. It's not too late. Jian Tong looked at Su Yu with a complicated expression. Su Yu, last night? I had a dream. I dreamed that I wasn't a superstar, and you weren't the CEO. We were just ordinary people, living an ordinary life together. Maybe everyone thinks that I like you because I want to be a young lady of Imperial Star, the daughter-in-law of the Su family, but I want to tell you that even if you don't have anything, I still like you. Maybe they don't believe me, but it doesn't matter, because I've already said it. If I don't say it now, I won't have the chance to do it again. I had a bad feeling when I woke up this morning. Did you know? When I was young, every time I saw a crow, even if it was just one, I would have bad luck for the whole day. But this morning I saw a flock of crows, so many of them. I've never seen so many crows in my life, so I knew that I had bad luck today. Even though I don't look like a human or a ghost right now, I still want to live. But you guys forced me to my death. You didn't give me a chance to live. Jian Tong's eyes were filled with hatred as she said this. No one forced you, you forced yourself into a dead end. Jian Tong, you can't always put the blame on others and think that you're the one who suffered the most. That's not fair, Huamin couldn't help but say. After listening for so long, she realized that Jian Tong's worldview was indisputable and even distorted. She always said that she was like Daoist, full of grievances and that others had let her down. How could she be happy? No wonder he kept making mistakes. Shut up. Do you think I won't send you to hell right now? Jian Tong increased the force of her voice. The blood on Huamin's neck had coagulated a little and seeped a little. With such a low temperature, she could no longer feel any pain. Instead, he felt cold and numb. Huamin, don't say any more. Su Yu reminded Huamin in a low voice, not letting her continue to anger Jian Tong. Su Yu, I really like you. I'm not like those other women. Zhao Qingya likes your money, Mian likes your power. I'm the only one who's sincere. But, why don't you love me? Jian Tong said as she burst into tears again. The onlookers on the rooftop were chased away by the police, afraid that they would interrupt or cause an even bigger accident. Even Jian Tong's mother was arranged to stay outside the police cordon and wait for news. Su Yu stood there, facing off with Jian Tong, but there was no result. It seemed that no matter what he said, Jian Tong couldn't move her body and give the sniper the best chance to shoot. Time passed by slowly, and the temperature was getting lower and lower. Gao Ran was also anxious. What should we do, Chu? Should we attack? No, it's too dangerous. Qin Chu shook his head. Chapter 2204. He lowered his head and thought for a few seconds. Then he whispered something into Gao Ran's ear before he turned around and went downstairs. Qin Chu reached the rooftop as fast as he could and stood next to Su Yu. The moment she saw Qin Chu, Huamin's eyes began to tear up. Honey! She immediately turned into a little girl when she saw Qin Chu. Her heart was filled with grievances. Qin Chu gently shook his head at her, indicating for her not to speak. Jian Tong became even angrier when she saw Qin Chu. Don't force me, or else I'll kill her right now. If you didn't force me, I would have agreed to any of your requests. So, don't act rashly, Qin Chu said coldly as he looked at Jian Tong. I don't believe you. You're full of tricks. No, I'll give you 10 more minutes. 10 minutes at most. If the helicopter doesn't arrive, I'll die with her. I won't be lonely on the road to the afterlife. After she spoke, Jian Tong pulled Huamin back a little. Su Yu and Qin Chu were so scared that their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Huamin could only feel her body leaning backwards. She was on the verge of falling over. Qin Chu didn't care about Jian Tong. He looked at Huamin and said softly, Honey, don't be scared. Let me sing you a song. Su Yu was slightly stunned. Then, she turned her head and looked at Qin Chu strangely. She thought to herself, you still have the mood to sing at a time like this? However, Huamin wasn't surprised. She nodded her head as tears flowed down her face, indicating for Qin Chu to sing. If there really was an accident, she would be satisfied that the last person she saw was Qin Chu. She originally wanted to tell her husband about some things like taking care of the twins. However, before she could say anything, Qin Chu started singing. We've returned to the very beginning, and the memory of your youthful face. We've finally arrived at this day, old photos under the table cushion, countless memories linked together. Today, the boy is going to meet the girl for the last time. Those years was a song that both Qin Chu and Huamin liked very much. Every time they listened to this song together, they would be reminded of their high school life, so it resonated very well. Those beautiful memories could not be finished in 3 days and 3 nights. Most of the time, Qin Chu sat on the bench on the balcony while Huamin sat beside her. The two of them sang along as they listened. Huamin would even sway left and right affectionately. Therefore, when Qin Chu sang this song again, Huamin still swayed his head from side to side tacitly, following the rhythm of the music. At this moment, Qin Chu suddenly made an OK gesture to the air. In the old industrial building across the street, Gao Ran held a pair of binoculars and stared at it without daring to move. After seeing Qin Chu's gesture, he immediately ordered, shoot. With a loud bang, the bullet flew from behind and pierced through Jian Tong's head. Then it flew out of her head. It just so happened that Huamin tilted his head to the rhythm, so he dodged it. The timing was just right, however, because Jian Tong was too close to Huamin after she was shot. When she leaned back, Huamin also lost his balance. She also leaned back with Jian Tong. Huamin, Mian, Su Yu and Qin Chu were both dumbfounded and rushed over. Jian Tong was unable to fight back because she was shot. She fell from the 12th floor and died on the spot. In a panic, Huamin grabbed onto a railing at the edge of the rooftop. His entire body was suspended in midair. At this moment, Qin Chu rushed over and grabbed Huamin's hand. He used all his strength to pull her up. Honey. After Huamin came up, Qin Chu held her tightly in his arms. Chapter 2205. She had been holding back her emotions for a long time. Now, she burst into tears. Wah wah wah, it's okay, it's okay. It's all over now. You did a great job. You knew you had to move your head away when I was singing. That gave the sniper a chance to shoot. Honey, you did a great job. I'm proud of you. Qin Chu comforted Huamin. Then, he held her face in his hands and kissed the tears on her face in a panic. Suyu wanted to say something as well. He felt sorry for Huamin. However, at this moment, he realized how unnecessary he was. He was an outsider between the couple. He could only watch but could never participate, especially when he heard Qin Chu say that the singing was a trap so that Huamin could cooperate with her. When he shot the sniper, he couldn't help but feel that the couple had a real tacit understanding. Therefore, Suyu didn't say anything in the end. He turned around and walked down the rooftop silently. Qin Chu carried Huamin back to the hospital and sent him directly to the emergency room. After all, he had been outside in the cold for a long time. There was a knife wound on Huamin's neck. Although it wasn't fatal, it was still bleeding a lot. Any doctor in the emergency room could have handled it, but Qin Chu didn't feel at ease. He changed into a sterile white coat and went into the emergency room with the doctors. He bandaged Huamin's wound himself. Jian Tong's sudden death was a heavy blow to her family. Su Yu sent out Imperial Star's legal team and paid them 50 million to keep Jian Tong's family quiet. They also announced that Jian Tong had committed suicide by jumping off a building because her face was disfigured after a car accident. The Public Security Bureau also closed the case quickly because of the suspect's death. Huamin fell seriously ill because of this incident. He stayed in the hospital for 3 days and then asked for sick leave to recuperate at home. Su Yu returned to his busy work. Jian Tong's death was a great loss to Imperial Star. Therefore, Su Yu launched a full-scale audition for new female artists. At the same time, Cici's sister, Lingxian, was discharged from the hospital and began to replace Jian Tong to take on some advertising endorsements and commercial performances. It was ironic that Jian Tong used to bully others because of her identity and wanted to steal Lingxian's endorsement. Now that she was dead, everything went to someone else. President Su, Miss Nie will be the finale of this year's year-end banquet. Is there a problem? The director of the planning department asked carefully. No problem. Let's do that. Su Yu didn't even turn his head. President Su and Yang's holiday is almost over. Do you have any plans after the new year? Do you want to arrange a concert? We'll talk about it when he comes back. President Su, we think we're short of talent right now. There are too few female artists who can perform. Maybe you can persuade Miss Nie's sister to sign with our company. After all, she's very beautiful and was Miss Nie's stunt double before. She's very talented in acting. Lingxi's agent suggested. It depends on the person involved. We can't just do whatever we want. You can talk to Lingxian and her sister face to face. Let me know if you have any news. Okay, President Su. That's all. You can leave now. After a busy afternoon, Su Yu was so anxious that he didn't even have time to drink a sip of water. After his subordinates left, the office door was pushed open again. Didn't I tell you everything? Why you back? Su Yu thought it was his subordinate and looked up impatiently. Are you excited to see me? Tang Chuan asked with a naughty smile. What the? Why you back? Chapter 2206. I'm back for Chinese New Year. Tang Chuan sat down on the sofa in Su Yu's office as if he was at home. Chinese New Year? Don't be ridiculous. It's true. You came back on your own? Su Yu looked at him mysteriously. Of course. How could I have my wife and kids with me? Tang Chuan laughed. What about Qi Ning? Did you get her and get ready to dump her? Or did you get her again and go home? Su Yu was confused. Before they left, Tang Chuan said that even if he didn't come back for Chinese New Year, he would coax and pester Qi Ning to get her. How long had it been? It hadn't even been Chinese New Year yet. Look at me. Of course, I didn't get her. Sai, forget it. I'm depressed. Do you have anything to do after work? Nothing. Let's go drink. I haven't gone out in a long time. Let's go. I'm not scared of you. Ha, whoever doesn't get drunk today is a little bastard, Tang Chuan called out. Let's go, little bastard. Don't waste time. Su Yu put his arm around Tang Chuan's shoulder and laughed as they walked out of Imperial Star's headquarters. Just like that, Su Yu and Tang Chuan hit it off and went to Seductive Fox nightclub. Back then, after Rick left, Tang Chuan accepted it and bought it with his own money. However, no one knew that it was his nightclub because he hired a reliable man to manage it. There were more than 20 people in the huge private room. Tang Chuan was probably in a bad mood, so he invited so many people to drink with him. Su Yu and Tang Chuan sat in the middle of the sofa. It was obvious that they were in a high position. People kept coming over to toast them. The two of them also drank quite a lot. Why isn't Wei Liao here yet? Su Yu looked at the door of the private room. Wei Liao isn't coming, Tang Chuan answered as he played with his phone. It can't be? Old Wei isn't a henpecked husband. Besides, knowing that this is your organization's venue, Old Wei won't disrespect you. Su Yu was puzzled. It's not a matter of face or not. He heard that young Master Shin would come. So, Tang Chuan did not continue. After hearing what Tang Chuan said, Su Yu immediately knew what was going on. Previously, the four young masters had a good relationship with each other. Later, after Shin Mingxi and Wei Ying got married and divorced, everyone knew about it. The Shen and Wei clans also turned from relatives to enemies, cutting off all business dealings. Wei Ying seemed to be full of resentment. The Wei family spoiled their youngest daughter, so naturally, she was resentful toward Shin Mingxi. When Wei Liao heard that Shin Mingxi was there, he naturally didn't come to avoid embarrassment. With Wei Liao's calm personality, naturally he would not do anything, nor would he make sarcastic remarks and make things awkward with young Master Shin. But after all, other than this matter, it was better for them not to meet. Tang Chuan told Wei Liao that the three of them would find another time to meet in private. As soon as he said this, the door of the private room opened. Shen Mingxi walked in, dressed in dark gray casual clothes. The person behind him was none other than Hui Yanyan. After not seeing her for a long time, Hui Yanyan looked much prettier than before. Perhaps it was because she was not as arrogant and domineering as before. Hui Yanyan didn't dress up as ostentatiously as before. She only wore a beige woolen coat. She wore a white scarf, small heels, shoulder-length hair, and light makeup. She was very low-key. Her style was somewhat similar to Hu Min's. Looking at it this way, Hui Yanyan was actually not bad. What's going on? Are they really together? Su Yu asked in a gossipy whisper. Chapter 2207. Rumor had it that Shin Mingxi and Wei Ying divorced because of Hui Yanyan, which was ridiculous. After all, Hui Yanyan was no longer the young lady of an aristocratic family. She was no longer a lowly phoenix. Not only was her marriage a failure, but she was also living the life of a salesperson with her daughter. Who would have thought that Shin Mingxi would bring her to public events? Looks like it's true. Good thing Wei Ying didn't come, or else. Damn, that would be so embarrassing. Tang Chuan was also shocked. After Shin Mingxi walked in, everyone stood up and greeted him. Then he walked over and sat beside Su Yu, holding Hui Yanyan's hand. Young Master Su, young Master Tang? Hui Yanyan nodded and greeted them. Su Yu and Tang Chuan nodded back. How's it going? Did you get Qinchu? Shen Mingxi picked up a glass of wine from the table and looked at Tang Chuan. When did you start to like gossip? Tang Chuan laughed. Who didn't know you were so high profile at the birthday party? Okay, maybe I was too high profile at the party and didn't manage to get her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to run back from the States. It's okay, young Master Tang, you never lack women. Shen Mingxi was a man of few words, but his words were precise. Su Yu was the closest to Shen Mingxi, so they talked a lot in private, mostly about investment and business. Hui Yanyan sat on the side, feeling a bit awkward. Tang Chuan looked at Hui Yanyan and asked, No wonder Hu Min was complaining about not seeing you. So you're with young Master Shin? Yeah. Hui Yanyan nodded awkwardly. After that incident, she didn't go to the place Hu Min arranged for her, nor did she accept the money he gave her. Then she disappeared. It wasn't that she didn't want to see Huamin, but she was afraid that he would scold her, so she didn't dare to see him. Young Master Tang, don't be a busybody. Mind your own business. You're not young anymore. You don't even have a proper girlfriend. That's enough. Shen Mingxi seemed to be different from before. He was more talkative than before. Su Yu noticed it, maybe it was because he was with Hui Yan. Shen Mingxi seemed to be more cheerful. I've never lacked women, thank you. Tang Chuan shook his wine and crossed his legs. At this time, 2 young models with big breasts walked in. They should be playmates brought by other rich second generations. Young Master Tang, let's play a game? Guess our chest sizes. If you guess correctly, we'll go with you. You can play with us however you want, one of the girls with a standard online celebrity face said with a smile. The other girl, who looked more innocent, was a little shy. She looked at Tang Chuan with a shy smile. What if I'm wrong? Tang Chuan asked calmly. If you're wrong, you'll come with us, the woman said shamelessly. Su Yu chuckled. Young Master Tang, take care of yourself. Can you handle 2 of us? Su Yu teased him. In the past, Tang Chuan would have made some ridiculous guesses, but he wouldn't actually take them with him. Most of the time, he only dared to talk about it. After all, those women were filthy. Tang Chuan wasn't that hungry. However, Tang Chuan didn't seem to be in the mood today. He didn't even want to play. He looked at Su Yu and said, I don't want to play such a fun game. I'll leave it to Lord Su. Your Lord Su always has good taste. If you serve him well, you might become stars in Imperial Star. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.